plot. Cool. So as you can see, this is this will be, again, it's a UI part is not really important at the moment. It's up to the team to decide what kind of UI. If whether you decide to spend a good amount of time and make it very beautiful with animations like last time Team 1 did it, and obviously it won the competition. It's up to you, but what it needs to have, it's a kind of like I say, any to-do list. It has to have a list, some input field with the add button. There also needs to be a list of tasks, probably list of completed tasks, list of kind of like to-do tasks, and also you should be able to delete and add new tasks, right? So for this project, you have to know certain things, which I will show you today. It's creating React classes or functional components. So functional components, I'm sure that you didn't touch it yet, but it's just two ways of building the components in React, right? So there are class components and functional components. So I will show you this part just because you still didn't learn functional components yet, but we will use this React class for this project, right? So if you know, you know, like if you learned the functional components in the past and you kind of like feel confident, I don't stop you from using it, but of course it may confuse your teammates, so maybe worth to consider not using functional components. The second thing is like you have to know how to handle on-click events. Here, besides on-click events, there is also another event. Maybe someone can tell me now what kind of event you should have here besides on-click.
Add event on click, add event listener on click.
Yes, but what kind of also event you need to consider in to-do list? If you look at this project, so on click, it's I got you. If you click add or click delete on this bin icon, it's on click, right? What kind of event you also need to know to complete this project?
Input.
Input, what kind of, like, yes, within input, how do you call that event?
On change.
Yeah, good. So we will just handling on click and on change events. Then you obviously need to know how to style components dynamically. What I mean, if, for example, you have like a completed list and you decided to click on a checkbox, you have to able to strike through through the text, and you should be able to kind of style it right appropriately. And obviously you need to have a basic understanding of ES6 and anything above ES6, and also JavaScript models, like how to import, how to export the components from one file to another, and how to import them, right? So what kind of functionality, gradient requirements? You obviously need to have all the functionality of to-do list, list of completed tasks, list of tasks to do. Also, you obviously code quality should be, you know, decent. It shouldn't be like monkey code, right? Like it shouldn't be very noodle code. So try to kind of like make it clean, maintainable, easy to read. Of course, tech lists, they have to kind of like look at the codes and try to review it, so and make it suggest improvements on the code quality. Also, regarding the design, so far all the teams did it well. Designs are always good. Maybe worth maybe those who didn't spend much time in the past on the design, maybe try to take time and spend more time, maybe add some animations and all that stuff, which adding animations will be a little bit tricky in React. So I probably would suggest take a challenge and maybe add 1-2 animations for this project. And also extra features, it's up to you, completely like optional. Maybe people like Daniel may consider adding like a backend to it, which will be good and also quite valuable. So what for the people who still kind of like questioning why do we need backend? So like maybe you're wondering like why do we need backend? So do we have such kind of people who still cannot understand like what would backend do here? Like maybe you're wondering why we need backend for this project. Like it's optional. It's not compulsory. I'm saying like if you don't know how to write it, no stress. You're not going to be judged that because you don't have a backend. But what does backend do? Can someone from the class? I will just select someone from the class to answer this question. Just give me a second. Ipiri, do you why do we need backend, like in general?
The backend is storing some data or some, I don't know, something which we can front end use taking from backend.
Cool.
So
Cool. Yep, you're absolutely right. So like as you may see with your front end projects, right? Let's say if we built a to-do list without backend, it always goes to the state which we kind of like create, right? So but backend, what it does, it allows you to store the data somewhere and then access it later. So like if you refresh your app, doesn't matter how many times. Let's say in your Facebook profile, you have like 200 friends, right? So every time you enter the Facebook, you don't need to add those 200 friends again, right? So it's already knows that you have 200 friends. So all the information about your friends in Facebook is stored in the backend, right? Like in somewhere in database which backend uses to extract the data and pass it to frontend. That's why we need so John, could you please admit to the group for the project that you okay. So we will add Butter. Hi Butter. Yeah, I will add you. Yep, just give me maybe like after the class straight away. Just I will add you to the group. Okay.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for putting the heads up. Cool. And so any extra feature, it can be like as small as like, you know, just kind of like different font and all that stuff, but it's up to you. So just add something. And so basic requirements and then extra features, local storage, all that stuff. And I also here I will add the bouncing, the bounce, and obviously these things there you may decide not to complete, and no questions will be asked why, right? Yeah, but if you decided to do it, it would be obviously it will be first thing. It will be beneficial for you to know. So
Can I ask a question? What is this
yes.
debug?
The bounce, you have to study it. Okay, it's not. I'm not going to explain because it's an extra feature.
Oh,
But
okay.
try to read. So I will React in the context of the React. Okay, in the context of React. After this project, I will explain what is the debounce, but not at the moment. Why? Because I want to let the people investigate it themselves at the debounce if they consider it kind of useful. And once you complete this project, I will explain what is the debounce. So not earlier than that. Okay, so let's start. I will cover these 4 things, and then we will split into the groups, and then you will start building the project. So for this, I will need to. So I need to do cd documents ctech. I do. Let's consider that I'm building my project here. So how do you create a React application?
npx create React app.
Yes, good, Recep with you have npx create React app, right?
And then
So
name.
then
name.
Yep. Let's call it to-do list. Yes. So we are creating this project. So what was the hardest thing so far in React? Like in this week you learned about React? Actual Pon, can you tell me what was the hardest thing you learned about React this week? Okay.
Yeah, hi Nurzhan. Sorry.
Hi, Actual Pon. Yep.
Yeah, I think just memorizing all the syntaxes are new. I mean, yeah, and GSX also it's like JavaScript and HTML.
Cool.
I understand everything, yeah, all together.
Yep, awesome. So we have to also. So yep, someone said understanding how props works. Yep, everything. Let's like try to cover this also, okay, during the talk. So the first thing, how to create class components and all that stuff. So this structure, whatever is created from the npx create React app, is called boilerplate. Boilerplate, it's just a set of default set of files project which created like automatically, right? That is called boilerplate. So that boilerplate includes app.js. It has something like function up. And this is actually that functional component that we were talking about earlier. So that we don't need this because we are not going to use a functional component. So we remove this part. We also remove this. Quite important that we have to import CSS because we will use this way of styling our components. So for now, I have like a React extension for my VS Code. So I just do like this and it creates everything. So it's a boilerplate code, right? So I need to modify it a little bit so it will serve our needs. And then we don't need test.js because we are not going to test it. We cleaned our CSS. Then we just put here a test. We modify this. We also go to index CSS. Let it be here. we don't need anything of this. We don't need this stuff as well. So and we can remove trash. We don't need this, and we don't want this. So this is like I stripped all the unnecessary information, unnecessary code. So it's very plain now. So can someone explain me how React adds the components, like how it builds the DOM? What is the where is the all the magic happens?
The app.js.
Okay, so any other ideas? So app.js is our component, right? What happens is app component, it's just a class. So this class, in this class we rendering, we call the function called render, and then this function returns the HTML like code, right? Like something which returns the div, and we have a test in it. But all the magic happens actually here. So what happens is the React DOM. It is another kind of like a method, like an object, which has a render method, and here we are passing our app into the document get element by ID root. So where this thing lives? Any ideas? Biknar, Isaac, you can answer also. Davranbek. Where this thing?
HTML.
It's in public index HTML.
Yes. So yep, cool. So it's here, right? It is here. So what happens is React here, React looks for a div or like a container with ID root. So do you see, guys, this? So React will put our app within this div. So this is how it is rendered. So if I started my application. I think if I didn't, I have to. Okay, so we pro blah blah blah. Something we probably start. Let's see. Okay, so it's it doesn't like something. We have to troubleshoot. Maybe I deleted some extra thing. Okay. So class component, render, test. So we have index this up. Yep, this one looks correct to me. Default. And actually this one looks correct to me. So I don't know why this one is complaining. So let's have a look at the documentation. So let's have a look what this tells me. So document list public, system limit to number of file watchers reached. Run to the list, create. Yes. This command. So I'm not sure what happened. It should work. It should work. I will just let me just check. It should have.
Shouldn't it be extends React.component or just component?
Yeah, no, component is like because I'm porting from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so is correct.
Do you need to export it?
It's already does the export
Oh.
default. Yep.
Okay,
So
sure.
we can do it
I think
here.
there is something wrong with your render on the line 5.
On the line 5. No, I don't.
Should it be like this, or it was something different?
Yeah, it should be like this. I think what we need to do is maybe add. We actually we don't need even constructor, I think, but let's add something like props here, and then we do super props, and then we also create some state just in case we eliminate all the potential things. Some initial value.
Nurzhan, maybe you don't need render, just return.
You mean this class component? No, it's for functional. You just use return. For this class, you have to have a method render. Just let me check.
It should be outside of constructor, right, or inside of constructor? Oh, it's outside. Okay, sorry. No.
Yeah. Just a moment. So it's weird to watch it. I think I deleted something which I didn't, but I don't understand what exactly I. Let's start from right from the beginning. So we have
You
RCC.
can Stack Overflow the error.
Yeah, it's another possibility. Event error. But to be honest, it should work straight out of the box. And start. I really don't see why it happens. So I may have another. I potentially believe it is because I have maybe somewhere another React application running on my machine, so and maybe it gets confused which maybe port is occupied.
Nurzhan, did we do and
yeah. Yes. So I closed all the other. I closed all the applications. I had another React running on my machine, and it was confusing which one to run. So it was breaking. So as I said, this is like just a basic command, right? Basic template of the React class component. So we will import our app CSS. It's worth to mention that nowadays it's class components are they're less likely to use. People not using class components in new code. It's mainly legacy code, old code, and as a part of your regular daily web development, you will have to convert these class components into functional components. So it's good to know like how class components work, but you will less likely write new class components. Your React components will be mainly functional, but this is important to know because this is how React was developed, right? Initially, it was class components. So as I said, it has two things. Like it's a class, so we can import it like here, component, or we can do like React dot component. So both ways is correct. And some people prefer to have like this, and they don't want to import anything extra. So whatever they just import React, and then they use the component like all this dot notation to import extra things. Or I personally don't like to do React dot and all that stuff, so I do component. I don't mind, and I use this. And also it's one of the kind of like boilerplate things, like combine the export default with class definition. We will do it here. So this is very basic, very simple stuff. So we created our text. So we don't need this. And now let's say if I want to style it, what I need to do, I can give a class name, right, to it, and say my container. So I imported app CSS, and I don't need this stuff. Don't need this. I can shift this here. So I say my container, and within my container, first thing I can do like a maybe cursor pointer, which will be very obvious, right? Like if my styling is applied. So you see it's applied. We will need obviously this console in future. So this is our text, right? So if I inspect it, you can see that we have our div container root, and whatever we created, it goes inside this root, right? So this is our root, and our container now lives inside the root. So why we don't use class? We use class name, guys.
Because class is already occupied as a class.
Yes, nice. That is the answer I was looking for. Good. So class already used, right? Like we are using the name class here to define our class component. So it would be does it mean that we cannot use class? We actually can use class. It should not break our application in any way. It's still a class, but it is actually not a good practice. So we don't even, like, our React will not tell us, oh, stop using the class. It's, you see, like my terminal is clear. So it is, we have to use the class name is just because we have to we have to distinguish between this class and this class. So that's why we are using a class for actual class component, and we are using class name to define the class, CSS class, right? Okay, so obviously there is no point just like to render this thing. We probably will have to add some on-click event. How would you do this, guys? Tell me, like, guide me. Imagine I don't know how to do on-click event. What I need to do?
Create a function.
Create a function. What kind of function would you create? Come on, guys.
We just add as an attribute on click, and then
Yes, good. And attribute on click, right? We should use name prop. Okay, this is a prop. So we will use the terminology of the React. So this is a prop, on click prop, and prop states for what? What is the prop?
it's the parameter.
It's a property, right? That is why it is called prop. Prop is short for property. So we have an on click, and here we can pass a callback function, right? Callback function usually, like in a lot of tutorials, you can see that they follow this name, how they call it, like naming paradigm, or like the way how they name it, and it is usually handle on click, something like this. So we can follow the same principle, and then we do like this, right, guys? And let's print something. Console log. We say test successful, right? Successful. And how you will combine these two? What you will do?
It's this dot handle on click.
Cool. This dot handle on click. So, and this is how it should work, right? Guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So if I do here, so we see test successful, everything goes well, nice. So let's now add something which will, for every click of test, we will increment some value. How would you do this?
Should we create the state? This dot.
Good. So guide me how you do it.
So it's should we use that constructor and super first, or
Yeah, constructor, then what goes inside?
super?
No, first we do like a constructor props, then we say super props, right?
Okay.
And then we do like this state,
And
and within this state we do like some this state is the object, right? So we say like say value, and we do some like value, let it be this, right?
but I didn't get why we are using that props inside there, because we were using it on the separate components before.
Separate components. So like let's say you pass something to app and we want to access that props, then in this case you want to have, we kind of like for now we are just keeping the structure of like a general, well, how the app components works. We know that app component, not like how any class component should work. So assuming that we want to pass some property to app, we will need to create this. For now we don't, like for app in this case we don't need, but this is how we do general case, right? So we can assume that, for example, here we can pass some property to app, and then we want to access it. In this case, we need the props here.
Okay,
So without these props, you won't be able to access any property you're passing to app. And we will touch this part because we had the questions about the property, so we will talk about it. As for now, I would suggest go further. And here we will how we update. So we have an on click event, right? How do we update the value?
Using set state.
Good. So when you do this state, right? So we do this state, or the set state.
Set state.
And then what you pass inside?
First value.
Okay. Value.
And then this state value plus.
Okay, so this state value, this state and value, right? And plus one, right?
Yes.
So obviously it needs to be object, right? Why we are putting you this? Why we are doing like this? Not saying, for example, why don't we don't do this state Why don't we do like this, guys? Come on, like
I think it's because you don't want to change the state directly, so you sort of interface the change.
Yeah, but what happens when you change the state?
State is immutable.
Yeah, but you're talking about like a kind of more like a the official documentation terminology, right? But why it is immutable? Why you cannot change it? You can change it like this. Absolutely, you can. But what will not happen? Or what happens?
It's not gonna pass to the render function that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I pity. That's good. So if you do like this, you want render state. So you won't cause the re-render of your application. So that's why you need to use it like through the set state, right? And we always pass new object to it. So you know that when you create the object, even though there are two objects, so let's say you have const object 1, and we have name, let's say John, and we have exactly the object 2 with the same parameters, same values. Are they same?
No,
Depends.
No. Why are they not same?
it's two different objects.
Exactly. So these are two different objects, right? So when you do like this, you're essentially creating a new object, which you are passing to the set state. You are not mutating it. You are passing completely new object to it. And once you pass new object, then and only then you will create a new re-render of your component. So let's have a look. And obviously we want to print it out. We do this state and we do value, right? So oops, something wrong. What is wrong, guys? What is wrong? Why this happens? Biknar, Izetbek, Isradin, you have to also participate. If you know the answer, tell me why this happens. Yulia, Ulan, Recep, Razat, come on, guys who are commonly active, Evgenia, maybe just to try to guess.
Yes, I mean, this refers to set state or no? I mean, it lost the context and.
Yes. So how do you solve this problem?
I think on click, we should just have a handle on click, not this state.
So you're talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even now it says like, oh, don't use what is the handle on click, right? So it's something different.
Line 13 inside the object, it should be just value +1.
I think
Okay.
the handle click is not the arrow function. Maybe.
Okay, so you see, it doesn't get to understand what is this.
You can bind this and then call it.
Yes, good. So what you're binding?
We need to bind this to this state value.
Yeah, can you guide me what exactly I need to do?
So our handle click function doesn't know which, like this. That's why it's like.
Okay. So where do you define it? Here in constructor,
no,
right?
Yeah.
We can.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to do it here, and then you do this, and you say handle on click, and then here you bind it and pass this.
Okay.
And now you see we have correctly, right? So guys, what was the problem? So when we don't have this thing, what happens is handle on click, it knows which handle on click, but it doesn't know all the stuff inside it. It doesn't know like what is the set state, because what it thinks of, it only looks at the context of the handle on click. It does not think of the context of the whole app component, right? So it looks like handle on click and says this set state, and handle on click looks in the this. What is the this? This it looks in the context of handle on click, and handle on click itself, it doesn't have a set state. And this is like, why? What is the? It is undefined. I don't know what you're talking about. But when we do it here, we are saying that we are binding this, which is our app component. Everything, whatever app component has, we are passing to the handle on click. So we are binding it. And then handle on click knows, okay, this set state is not actually not related to handle on click. It is related to the app component. So this is how it works, right?
Nurzhan, we will create in the future another functions. We have to always do that inside the constructor.
So my question is, if you do this way, you have to.
But it's supposed to be the arrow function, right? Then we can.
Yes. So now guide me what you need to do. Like, how would you do this?
It's handle click and then equals an arrow.
Handle on click equals.
Equals.
And
then after
then
parentheses
the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then we don't need this, right?
Yeah.
So we don't need this. So, but it is good to know both ways, right?
So I have a question.
Yes.
So even though our class app and we created a method inside which is handle click, it's supposed to be in the prototype of the app, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes.
But when we use this, it doesn't know.
You see, it is you have app, right?
Yes.
App is it's a kind of like it is something which lives. It's more like a higher order of than handle on click, right?
Yes.
So if you don't pass this to handle on click doesn't know anything about what happens in the higher order component. So because handle on click only sees whatever is inside the handle on click. When we do bind, we are telling handle on click, look, there is actually this is not like you don't need to look within yourself. You have to actually reference something which passes from the top. So if you look at the JavaScript, let's say you have const function 1, and we say function 1, and then we here maybe we do function 2 first here. Console log function 2. So, and then we have like a function 1, which contains the function 2. It may contain like a own parameter, like a function contain const. Let's say a equals 1, and then it calls like a function 2. Function 2 invokes. If function 2 use like any static value right here, it won't complain, right? So we do like this, and we do function 1 around function 1. It gives the function 2 as a like response. But function 2, what it does, imagine it is a quite similar situation. We say function const function 2, but we will modify it a little bit. I'm not sure if we can change it, so I will say 2 let it be the second, and then we will say something like this, const a. I'm not sure if like it will let me do it. So yeah, it function 2. I will do function 2. Output will be it will complain, right? That it does not exist, blah blah blah, is not defined. So imagine you have now function 1, 1, 2, and we do 2, 2 here. Function 1, 2. So it is the similar thing. You kind of like you function 2, 2 by itself. It doesn't know what is the A. It doesn't know what is the this in the context of the handle on click. We don't have an error, right? We don't have an error here. It does not error. Why? Because
I mean, yes, but the handle on click, it's the prototype. I mean, inside the prototype of the app, and it should supposed to know, right? No?
No, it depends on like how you define it. If you define it like this, it will never know. If you define it like this, it will never know. But arrow functions, yes, arrow functions, they work a little bit differently. Arrow functions by in like somewhere in the background, it already does this. So we already bind this to the handle on click. That's why it works straight away. But it's if we use not ES6, like not the arrow functions, like the something which was like because classes are also ES6, but like old way, then it wouldn't know what is going inside. So this set state, it doesn't know about this set state unless you have to bind this. Your class component, your constructor should tell handle on click that you should be aware what is this. And once it is know what the actual this, it is an app, then only then it can use this set state and refer these state values. Because do you remember it was working fine, right? Without this, it works fine, absolutely. There is no problem whatsoever with this. So correct? You see, there is no problem. But once you do this, it starts complaining, right? It says this is undefined. So because it doesn't know what is this, it's definitely not the context of the handle on click. There is no this in the handle on click. So, and that's why you need to bind it. And once you bind it, it is available now in the handle on click.
So handle on click is called as a standalone function, not as a method, then, right? That's why it doesn't know.
It handle it cannot be. It is not like that, because handle on click, you are referencing the handle on click here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your class component knows that this is handle on click. If it was not a part of the component, you cannot, like, you should have called it like this. Like, let's say I create something like a const print hi, and I do here console log right there. This is a standalone function, right?
Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it is not like it is a specific only to JavaScript, like this kind of binding. I haven't seen any in like in Java do needed nothing like this, but it's also only specific if you do it in the old way of defining. That's why it's like it's advisable to do arrow function, and then you don't need to bind this, because arrow functions that do that when you create arrow functions, they already bind handle on click with this, and then you don't need to specify anything. So yeah, it's something that you have to be aware of. That's why I kind of like ask you to do, ask about this. Tell me, yeah, just tell me if you're kind of like still have questions.
So which way is better?
I think arrow functions it's better. Like this is this like binding. It was, I think, earlier time when you had to do class components because arrow functions were not there. So try to always go with new features, because this is how like you will be always on top with the development of all the libraries, frameworks, and all that stuff, right? So you have to kind of like every time there is new release, significant release, then you have to kind of like look at it, investigate, learn new features. Like every time they do a little bit something new. So as nowadays no one uses class components, you know, like everyone uses functions. So like you will, once you learn functions, I would encourage stop using class components and only use functions, not class components. But for now, yeah, you have to know how it works. So now the second step, obviously, it is one thing, right? It's like one little simple case of class component. Let's assume that you need to create another component, and you have to use it here. So we will just create components, and guys, let's if you wanna have a break, you just tell me, because I can carry on. But maybe you would consider like a 10 minutes break for now, or like what do you want? Or shall we carry on?
Can carry.
We can carry. Okay. So these are our components, and we are in our component. Let's build like a field, right? Like we add new, or like a new task. How would you call this part? Let's think about proper naming of this part. How would you do it? Maybe add new task component? No, like
New task?
Input text.
Yeah, like a new task builder or something like that. Yeah, let's make it new.
So should it be the capital?
Like I'm just doing like as we do it at work, but you can do it like anyway, as long as it is consistent everywhere. So I can do like also do app here, app.js. I also, yes, I want to change it. I also like to have a JS6 just because I want to distinguish it that my components, these components from the actual JavaScript code, right? So JS6. So
did you just rename the app.js to JS6?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. And like obviously you may have a question in your head, like why we need to do JS6 if everything works with JS, right? And it's only because like there is no much different, because like at the end it will be all JavaScript, but it is a good practice to differentiate between actual component and those JavaScript files which you only contain the logic, right? Like, or maybe helper functions or everything, something like that. So this, if I look at this, I know this is a component, and let's say I have a somewhere like maybe I have utilities folder, utilities folder, utils, and within utils I have like a say hello function, like just because it's easy to build. All right, so I do JS, and here I say export const say hello, and here
Nurzhan,
say,
for new task file, you have to add like JS. New task after new task that created. You have to add something like JS.
Yeah. I will add. I'm just saying why I'm using JS6 and JS. Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
this is a pure JavaScript. It's not a component. That's why the extension will end on JS, and here it is pure component. So if for some reason I decide to import the say hello into my handle on click, so I do say hello. So I imported say hello, and you see I know that say hello, it's a pure JavaScript, so it's kind of like easy to navigate, easy to read. So just distinguish, put the X next to in your after JS in your extension, so you know which file contains only components and which are pure JavaScript files. So new task. Okay, Recep, we are back to this new task generator, and we do, obviously it needs to be JS6, right? Because it is our it will contain our component. So, and here we do again React class component, we new task generator, go away, come on. So new task generator, so we can, I don't like this here, so, and let's assume that we are now just use this new task generator. So for now it will be something like this. So I save it, I copy the name, and then I have to import it. How would you import it here, guys? So instead of this,
Import and then closing tag, like, and to put.
so yes, so we like when we import another component, we do like this, right? So we are importing this, so everything comes so everything comes like it's actually, this is how you import the components, like, right? How you call the components within the render. So you have to use this angle brackets, and then you put the name of the component, and then you put this forward slash, right? So now if I look at my app, something is not happy with something. So now we have a new task generator. So I say hello, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I just wanted to point one thing which I forgot to mention. So if I refresh, I press, it says test successful 0, right? What is the current value here? So there is quite a nice extension here. So components. So go away. components, new entry, task generator. So we don't need this. Need that. So you see the state, it shows the state. Can you see it? Or shall I try to increase it more?
We see.
Unfortunately, yeah, I cannot.
Yeah, we can
So
see.
yeah, so as you can see that test successful 0, it prints 0, but actually the value is 1. So value is 1. So it's lagging behind, right? It's a one. It's a like now I press this one again. Look. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 4. But console log will tell us that it is 3. You see? So why is that?
Because values start with 0, that's why.
Yeah, value starts with 0, but value starts with 0. We update our state. We print this thing. We update it. We do like a 0. Like let's think from the beginning. This value is 0. We do +1. Value is now 1, but I'm printing 0. Why? Why is that? Look again. But
because when you first load, it's 0, right? And then the render works after you click.
Okay, say it again. What, like, can you explain step by step what happens?
So when the page first loads, it first comes to the state, which is 0, the value. And then when you click the div, that's when the render works and it refreshes the page. As I think I remember like that.
No, but like, okay, it re-renders, but why it re-renders with 0? This is my question. We here we updating the state, but then it is still prints the 0.
Because the value is didn't update it yet, so the function.
Okay, good. So when it is get updated?
I think when the function is finished, after that it will be updated.
Okay. So this is like very important, guys, to understand the logic, right? Like how the rendering works. Like there would be like once when you and I will become like a senior front-end developers or like a web developers, then in future we will have to optimize the performance of our pages, right? I don't do it at work, but like, you know, when we have to do it, then we will have to understand how many times the page re-renders, right? How many times, like the more page re-renders, it's every time it has to load, rebuild all the DOM. It takes a lot of time. It's very resource thirsty. It requires a lot of operations, and then that's why it is not good for application. Our application becomes very slow. And one of the basic things what you have to remember is when the update of the state happens at once, right? So it happens after this handle on click. It runs handle on click. After that happens the render, and only then the state gets updated. So when this happens, when this happens, the state, even though we called this, this is asynchronous function. It does not happen instantaneously. The handle on click does not stop here, waits until this one happens, and then goes to here. It runs it. This is asynchronous. It's kind of, it will take as much as time as it needs, and then straight after that it goes to here, and here the state is not updated yet. So that's why it is when we call the value here, it is still 0. Then the state updates, and we update like everything, the render happens, and the state becomes 1. But like by the time when this one called, the state is still 0 because this one is a synchronous call. So we are going back to our promises, back to the asynchronous functions. So in order to display the correct value, we just have to kind of use +1. And now we update. And we have this, right? So now it works as it actually must work. So we can maybe also add div.
Nurzhan, what did we change?
We just changed. We added +1 here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So and now if I want to, by the way, if I want to display value, how would I display it?
It would be this dot state dot
this
value.
State.
Inside
But it's supposed to be inside the curly braces, yeah.
Okay, that's good. It's good that you remember this, right? It's good. So what we do here, so it is 0. We do 1 here, 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and blah blah blah.
But Nurzhan, I think I didn't get. So whenever you first refresh the page,
yes,
without that +1 on console log,
yes,
it shows us the value 0,
so,
right?
Like yes. So go back to this problem. So you see, this one is 0. I press this one. This one is 1, but the test successful is 0. I press this one. This one is 2. This one is +1. It's always 1 behind, right? And it happens. Why it happens? Because when we do handle, when we press the D, when we press that container, this function runs, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
So if this one function runs, do you remember we say, like, if we have a synchronous function, it goes to the promise state, right? When it's kind of like doesn't know what it will do. Will it go to the positive or negative? Like, will it resolve or reject? We don't know. So these are synchronous. The computer doesn't want to sit here on this line. It doesn't want to sit and wait. It doesn't work like this. So it runs this, but it doesn't mean that state is updated. State is still not updated, because this may take time. This takes longer than running, for example, this console log is it's very instantaneous. It's very fast, right? This will require complete re-render of your application. So if I open this part, I press. I probably should do it in Google Chrome, because it just highlights if something gets updated. Give me a second. I will open in Google Chrome. So I do. Okay. It's still.
So it means that it's still printing the old value, right? That's why it's 1 behind.
Yeah, because what happens is, just a moment. So look, I'm updating. So I'm not sure if we can see it here. Where's that? Style, body, so root. It's not, why it's not displaying its updates? Here in components, I think they have components, always parse expand profile. Yes, so let's say I'm updating this. You see, it updates every time I click, it updates the component. It means it updates the whole DOM. And if you think about how this function is works. If we draw tail. Discard. Yes. So we have, this is our handle on click. Maybe we will show like this, and this is our this set state. And this is our console log. Imagine we are not talking about like I'm not going to talk in seconds. I'm just saying, let's say to run this function, you need to wait 100. I don't know, 100 milliseconds, nanoseconds, doesn't matter. But this one takes 100, and this one takes 1. So when we run handle on click, what happens in the background, guys? So how handle on click works? So I'm putting everything in a one.
Oh,
thing.
so it's gonna read the first line, and then it's gonna go to the second line and run the second, and then come back to the first because it doesn't want to stop the code.
Exactly. Yes. So this state will take 100, right? Like, so what it will go, it will come to here. It says, okay, I see you are asynchronous. I know you will take time. So I will just put it, you in a somewhere. I will come to you later. So it went here. It comes here. It says, oh, you're not asynchronous. I can run you straight away. So I run you here. So this set state then, after this certain amount of time, gets called again, right? So it's called after that. The status is green. It re-renders your page, and also it updates your. It also updates your state.
Value.
Yes, that is why when we have like initial value, we access the initial initial value is 0. We print it straight away. Computer prints 0, it doesn't print 1, because by the time it gets 1, this call is already executed, right? Is it more clear now? Can you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so now let's go to the second thing. So we have information about new task generator. So we get it. So now the second thing, how you pass props. So what are the props? We know that props are properties, right? So let's say if I want to pass to new generator, I want to pass a value which will be updated here. Let's say I will pass like certain, like for example, a task name. How I do this, like this task name? How I pass like a property task name to from your app to new task generator? How do you do this, guys?
We have to do new task equals to
okay, some value, right? New task,
yeah,
equals, let's say here is your task passed by props, right? And then how you, obviously if you do this, you should do something here. So what you do here,
props dot name, task name inside the div. Oh, we have to first pass the props, right?
So how do you do this?
Is it supposed to be inside the
Guys, come on, help.
Constructor and super has
Construct.
props? Yeah.
Super props like this?
Why we just cannot just pass to the render props and inside the div just to
I don't
put-
know, like why you tell me. I'm just like I'm following whatever you guys tell me. So what needs to be done?
Yeah, I was
I'm
thinking to pass it
thinking-
inside the render, but I think
Yeah,
we
render
haven't done.
will be props inside the render props, and no, inside the parentheses should be,
Okay, so you pass here props. Okay.
and then inside the div, so it should be props that task name on the return line 10.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So we come here. We update. Did I do everything correct as you said?
No. I mean,
What?
it shouldn't be
Wrong there.
there, I think.
So guys, what's the problem? Tell me.
So we have to
Yeah,
pass
but-
the props, but we don't know where.
So any ideas? Isatbek, Beknar, like guys, come on, be active. Isradin, do you guys where's the problem? It says props undefined. It's undefined. And it doesn't know where the props are.
Yeah, we're passing in the wrong place, but
Okay, so let's do this. React, pretend that we don't know how to do it. React class component.
Nurzhan, since it's a class, should we type this?
Yeah, let's do this. You mean here?
Maybe.
Yeah, let's not guess, okay? Because you see, even it doesn't know like even these props or these props. It's actually very confused. It's a poor my computer, right? It's struggling. So let's have a look. We don't like guessing is not a good thing, right? So this is a functions. We don't need functions. We need class components. So it's all functions. We need a component. Where's the component? React class props. How to pass props to component in React. So okay, so we have here, we do greeting, extend components, render. There are not props here. We don't have. So this is where like it does, right? These props, greetings. Will it work? Maybe it will work, right? Maybe
Is it curly
curly braces? Yes, we already know that. So we task name we pass. Let's remove this. We don't need. So something is wrong, guys. Something is wrong.
I think is that like, can you open the code? We have a new task and task name. I think is two different, or yeah, new task and task name.
Okay.
So it should be same.
New task. Okay, good. So now it should work.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it worked, right? Cool. So now it works. And what happens, guys, in the background? Can someone explain how this guy knows about this? So we had a question. The props were Davranbek. Can you tell me like what happens here? So I will put it side by side so you can see. So Davranbek is not here. Maybe he's silent. So guys, who can explain what happens here?
Can I try?
Yes, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, so as I understand, that props is always pointing on any props we are calling, like whenever we call like anything, in this case, it's new task generator. And we have here these props, right? We are like saying, giving values for that props.
Yep.
Yeah, and we then import, I mean, these two files are like know that they are existing, right? Each other. Yeah, then when we do props.new task, so this props means always pointing to that callback function, right? And it's checking that value inside the props. So it's passing the value.
Okay. Yep. That's right. So the thing is that it already knows what happens, right? Like in inside new task generator, when we pass the property here, so we can access these props straight away, that because essentially it's the two things, right? This is our class, and this is it's an object of the class, right? So this is our object, and we are passing certain parameters. So if it is the object of instance new task generator, so it must be aware of everything what you pass here. So if we pass like extra things, like let's say age, we can say 20, we can access it. By the way, props, and we have age, right? By the way, why it is complaining that why it is red?
We need parentheses.
So we do parentheses
inside one div.
Yeah,
exactly. So good point. So we do one div. Have you seen this? So this one is kind of like a called empty element, and what it helps is to avoid showing extra divs. So for some reason we have don't. Yeah, we have to say this. So you see, if I inspect, you don't see that empty div, right? You see, empty tag. You don't see it, but this is just a hack. So React does not complain, because if you don't have here, it will complain. So more often people use div, but imagine you don't have, like, you know, every div you add to the DOM unnecessary, it is extra load, right? Extra load which needs to be re-rendered. Look, so we have here, we have this wrapping div. You see, my container div, and then your two new things. But what you can do instead, you can just do empty, and this is how it, and then we don't have that extra div, but at the same time React does not complain. So it's a just a nice trick.
Nurzhan, I have a question.
Yes.
So we usually, when we pass the props, we use the props as argument, but here we're not using it, but it already knows. So does that mean we don't even have to use it as arguments in the functional components too, or how does it work? How is it knowing?
So you are talking about these ones?
I'm talking about on the new task generator, JSX, line 11.
Yes. So
yeah,
we will come to this next. So why we need, like, let's consider the case that so we have here props, and then we have like this state, and here we have like age, and then we pass. We want our age to be 20. So let's say we want to update by clicking this. We want to update our state age, and we want to start it from 20. How would you do this? So you would do, I think it is like age like this. So now you store your property age and you pass it to the state. So, and then what you need to do, you do additional on click, let's say on click here, on click, and then you say handle on click. So it's all kind of it's all like scenarios which you may encounter during the building your project, right? So
is it like repetitive code? So if we will create a state and pass props on our components, it's gonna point to that state, not to the app.js, or I'm wrong?
Say it again.
I mean, whenever we pass on our components, new task generator components, the constructor and super, and then we pass their props, and we are like rendering it inside like this dot props dot new task. It's supposed to point to the callback function on the app.js, right?
No. Why should it need to?
If it has that props there.
So because these props are different from these props, right? So like what is the scenario? What's the difference if I, like, let's say, okay, I see your confusion now. Let's say if I want to new age. So handle console. For now, I just do console log, okay, and I say console log. Say new age, just like this. So I will just have this. I remove. I don't need highlighting. So I need console log. So new age test successful, test successful. So everything is going up, up, up. So we can say here event. We can pass event to here, and I will ask you why you must remember this event prevent default. I think it is like this. Why I am doing this stuff? Just give me a second. So when default, just I don't want to show you here. I need to Google one thing. Give me a second, guys. Okay, yep, I found it. First of all, so I think it is obvious what is this one is doing, right? Guys? If it is not, just say no. It's
Yeah,
fine.
can you
So
explain?
I will show you first, and then maybe if you still didn't get it, I will explain it. Okay. So
Okay.
I completely refresh. I press this. You see, it prints the console log, this one and this one, right?
Yeah.
It prints this and this. So now I'm doing like this. And watch again. What's the difference?
It's printing only on the right side, the console of new age.
Yes, yes. So it prevents event to propagate up the tree, right? So we have a DOM. We have a event handling. We have it here in my container, and we have an event here in div, right? Here event and here event. You see, two events. So one event and the second event. So when we do stop propagation, like if we, in reality, if we like what happens in as a default, we click this event, it activates event here, and also event propagates up the tree. So bubbling effect, right? From here to parent, from this one to parent, to each parent, from here to each parent, and so on, up to the window, right?
Oh, so you are just stopping that.
Yeah, and I'm saying like, look, I don't want event to propagate up the tree. Just stop it straight away. Stop it. So now, question: who was asking about refactoring, repeating the code? Nurzhan, was it you? Or
it was
someone
me.
said
I was thinking we are recreating that handle click on the other.
Okay, so
component.
it's a cassette, right?
Yes.
Like I cannot see the names. Yeah, like by the voice I can hear, like I can, but I still want to check the names, like not to prevent the calling you a different name. So cassette. So now let's assume you want to update this age. How would you update? How would you update? Do like increase it, like let's say we want to, every time you click new age, it should do +1. How would you do this?
We have to create function inside that handle click. Handle on click.
Which one? This one or this one?
No, on the right side.
Okay, so but where, how do you store, where do you store the 20? How do you store it?
Should
So
we
you're
just...
passing, yeah, so you want to do like the, you cannot do like these props +1, right? It won't work like this. These props new these props h +1, it doesn't work. So you should guys remember one thing: props, they are not state, right? State are state, props are props. Okay, and why we need state?
To store the data.
To store, and what you can store data in the variable, like just I can store like const, like not here, of course, like I can store it here. Let's say I can store my age my age, like I can store it here, right? So I can store like my age, I think it would be correct, my age 20, let's say, this dot my age, And then I can call this my age from anywhere, right? Like I can even call it here and say, of course, it will probably will complain. Like there is a way how to do it, but what's the problem with this age and the props? What's the difference? Like
my age.
I mean, what's the difference between like this variable and the state?
So this state is coming from the component, no? Or it's not?
Yes, but like what it will do? Like Aktan, you're very close, but like I just want to hear exactly the word. Well, like what will happen if I update?
Sorry, prop is not changeable, state is changeable.
Yeah, this one you can mutate, but the problem, like guys, you should always remember that when you update state, it re-renders it, right? Because it is part of React. React doesn't care. Like I can create hundreds of different additional variables, but if they are not part of the state, I can update them, but it won't do anything. It won't cause re-rendering. Only updating the state will cause the re-render. And if re-render happens, it will update the, like I can change this to any number during my code. Like I can like, you know, increment, like do, for example, for loop and increase this one from 20 to 30. This will not update the value which we see on a screen. It will not update this 20, even if I use my age here. Because why? Because update only causes, update on the page only causes after re-render. Every time you update something, you want to update the in your UI, you have to cause the re-render, and you can re-render by updating the state, but you cannot update React component just by changing your variable here inside your constructor. So this is always, like, remember it, state is a place where you store information. As Nurzhan said, it is correct, but it's partially correct, because state is also allows you to update, re-render the component, and you can update the state, right? So once you update the state, it causes automatic re-rendering. So, and let's say you pass age here, and now you can do like this set state, and then you do age, and then do this state age +1, right? Just a moment. We'll this props age, and then we don't do this. We call age here. So I think it should be now working, right?
Nurzhan, can you back to the code? So on the inside the state, you're passing age, props.age, right?
Yes.
But where it's getting it start? Oh, okay. So it's getting the props from
props.
the got it. Yeah.
And you may ask, like, your natural question will be like, oh, you know, like why do we need it? This, you know, like how, like why do we update? Why store it? And I will tell you like one thing. Let's say new task generator, like we probably should have changed it to like a age incrementer or something like that, but doesn't matter. So let's imagine you have 3 of these, right? And you have like 30 and 40, right? And imagine like we want to now increase this one goes up, but the other two don't, right? So you can independently increase this one as well. So now you have like all the information, right? Like kind of how to pass the props, use it straight inside your render. So if you don't need to do, if you if you just want to display the props, then you don't need this part. So you don't need it. You can just purely do these props props.h, right? And it will do like 20, 30, 40. But of course, like this handle on click, we can just remove it. So this is how it, if you just need to display it, then it's fine. But if you have to change the property you're passing to, change it, then you have to update the constructor, and you have to define the state variable and then pass the props, assign the props to the state variable, and then you can do all these manipulations with the state. So before we have a 10 minutes break, I will show you another last thing, how to, obviously, if you want to increase, just imagine you have to render like 10 or 100 of these things. How would you do this, guys? How would you do? Have you done map? Have you looked at the map?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
we did.
Okay. Someone did. Someone not. How come? If you didn't do with Acel, your answer should be no. If you did
I
it
think,
somewhere else.
no, we did it on extra class or something. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's assume the case. So we have let's say number of tasks, right? And number of tasks, let's make it 20, right? Just because I want it. And instead of doing this, what I can do, I can add JavaScript code here. So what I can do, I say, let's say I can maybe it's like
we can do const, let's say something equals to this dot state dot num of tasks, right? And then we can use that variable and map it.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking how to would be like what would be the best way to create, because map works with array, it doesn't work with the numbers, right? So just JavaScript.
Maybe we can do list of tasks and like give some arbitrary task in the array and try to display it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, like, yeah. So I think the easiest thing would be okay. So and then apply. I'm just like want to create array from. It's always like hard to come up with the idea. So like, let's say I want to create array of 20 elements. How would you do this, guys?
We can create new array,
create new array, right?
and then
Yes.
and then give, yeah.
Yep. So we can do number of tasks. We can do new array, and we can do something like this. Like it is not the most ideal case. But what will happen here, guys? What does this do? Come on, you did the JavaScript course recently, right? So you should remember what does 20. So it will create an empty array of 20 elements, right? It should do, at least to my knowledge. Okay. So we do
You
a
mean
new array.
dynamic one?
Yes, it's empty.
This length. So 20, right?
Mhm.
So if I do two, so if this is 20, like I mean the number of tasks, I know this is the array. This is this state number of tasks. By the way, it's not actually not a good idea of doing this here. So the best approach would be do destructurate number of tasks, and we destructure this state. So this way we don't need to say this state blah 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 and all that long things, right? And here we can do map, and then we can say like element, but we are not going to use element, right? We don't need element, but we just have to specify it just because we have to, right? And then here we do return and say new task generator. We can pass index here. So by the way, if we don't specify element, it's good practice like to do under this. So we are just saying like, oh, we are not going to use element, so it does not complain that we are not using it. And here we can say what kind of props we are looking for age, right? So we are using age. We don't need new task thing, we just need age, and we say age, and here we say, let's say index plus 20. So while I'm typing, you should already start thinking like what you expect from this code, right? So what do you expect, guys? What we will see?
Age should be increasing from 20 to...
We will see like 20 ages.
Yes, so we
From
will
20 to
we should see this. For some reason we don't. We need to identify why we don't see it, which is very unexpected. So we can do console log here just in case that we definitely get in the number of tasks length, and then we also I think what to. So we definitely get 20. We also have to. I will just for sake of experimentation, I have to just do one thing because I'm not sure if list map element.
Nurzhan, after this, can we take a break, please?
Yes, we will take the break because I also need it. And we do return. We can just return index. So array 20 const new list. Yeah, it returns the returns the empty array. And why does it do this? I'm sure that it shouldn't be the case, but list for each. I'm just troubleshooting why it returns list of empty arrays.
Maybe we should do like element assigned to index number.
Yeah, you see, it does not loop through. It's not a good example. I need to create array of non-empty array, I think. So I know what to do. For this I will install one thing. It's yarn at Lodash. Lodash, and in Lodash it's a nice library which has a lot of good methods. Just a moment. Where is that? So I here Lodash create a new array. Create new array from 1 to n, let's say. So create an array. So it has a range which will be from 5, for example, from 1 to 20. So we will import from Lodash. So Lodash usually imported as this underscore, and here we say range, and we say from 1 to 20. Okay, so in this case I think it should work. Close tabs. With that, yay, look at this. So okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3. We can increment, you see. So this is what we need. And before we go to the last one, there is a warning. So key prop blah blah blah. So did that Sarah explain what is this?
No, I don't think so.
So when you do map, right? When you do map, you will have to provide every component with individual key. So like sometimes it is what people do just for demonstration purpose. They just do like this. This key should be non-repeated anywhere in your within your like a component. So like within this my container, all the keys must be they should not be repeated. So when we don't specify key for a single component, React will add key automatically to this component. But when you do map, React does not add the keys. And for React, without the key, all the components, this essentially look like the same. So the key allows the React to identify which component has been changed, and it's easy for React to navigate. So like if we remove this key, you will see there is like a warning saying each child in a list should have a unique key property, you see? And without this property, the still application may work, but it also for React it's very hard to identify where the change, what it needs to do. It has to, like, let's say we incremented this, React has to go compare its virtual DOM with the current state and then identify what is changed. But if it has a key, React already knows, like, I'm changing this, it knows which key was changed, and then it does not need to go through whole list and identify where the change happened. It goes straight to the certain component which was changing. So you see, so
Nurzhan, but they have all same keys, right?
no, they don't have same keys. Why do you think so?
So it says key equals to index.
Yes, but what is index? So hook index. But what is the index? Index 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. It's an index of elements, right? And they cannot be repeated.
Okay.
And to be honest, it's fine if you do it like in this project, but in production code, we have a library called ESLint, which controls how you write your code. So it is a library which we are not going to touch with most of you. Like some of you may know this because I already talked to them about ESLint, but most of you don't need to know ESLint. You will be introduced at work, but you should know that this library, it kind of like puts additional constraints on the way you write the code. And in my job, we, like in my company, we don't we have a special parameter rule in ESLint where we cannot use index. So this is not a good idea because you may have like a couple of lists next to each other with the same indices. So then you will have to create you will have to create some like other way of generating keys, and there are like libraries which do this, like key React key generator. And then you can have a look if you are interested how to do this, but just for sake of time we use in the class, we better just use index. But bear in mind, in production usually we don't use index. It is like there are special libraries which generate unique keys every time, and then they are not repeated across the whole application. Okay guys, let's have 10 minutes break, and then we will be back and we will finish. We are very close. Maybe you will another 10-20 minutes of me talking to you, and then you may start splitting into groups, and then you will start designing the work you are going to do on the for building to-do list. So yep, enjoy your break, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. So
from parent to child, right?
Yeah, from parent to child. So you can pass information from parent to child only, like through props. So this applies certain constraints on the way how you build React components. So what it means one directional. I can pass the prop here, as we did like with age, right? But I cannot directly from this component, I cannot talk to the app. I cannot say like, look, you have to update something. So there is a way how to do this. I probably will help you with a certain thing. So like, let's say this is new task generator. It will include our input here. So we will slowly remove all these things. We will do on change. Most likely, it will take quite a bit of time to explain it actually. So on change event, we say event. Here we say our task task. We don't need props h. It was just for explanation purpose, right? So we say task. We can say type your task here. We can say event this set state. We say task, and then we say event target. I think it's a value, and here we do value, and this is one of the also like very important things to remember. I will just let me finish it and then I will explain it. Input task. Here I say button. Button add task. So, and here I say, I think it's type text. Let's have a look. How does it look like? We don't need H here anymore. So obviously it complains about something. Number of tasks is undefined. So task number of, we don't need here. So this is the thing. We test successful 0, 1, I didn't. So we say handle on change. We probably modify this one. Handle on change event. We say we do this here. And we also need to do on click. On click. And here, when we do on click, we also we need to prevent propagation. Maybe we don't, but we will just make sure that container. And here we do so on click. On click, we will do, for now we will just do console log. We say added task, and here we just pass. We can just put it here like this. Handle change. Okay, so let's have a look what happens here, guys. So I start typing test task, and let it be on click. On click, I display added task, and I do this state task. So I new task. Okay, so I have to do on click, and I have to do handle on click. Yep, now it should work. New task. So you see, it adds new task. So looking at the code, what happens here?
guys? What happens here? Maybe we do. Any explanation why I need on change and why I need this?
To make sure that data is changed, like can change inside the input.
Yeah, but if I remove this, right? Placeholder, type your task here. So if I start typing, you see it's changing.
But when you do it for another task, it's not gonna back.
That's right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So we are not storing like these values, right? We type it here, but we are not, the React does not store it. So to store this data, we actually have to, what happens here? We using on change. When we changing something, we updating the state task, right? Task get updated, and then here we are using that value. We are using the state value, right? We are not using the actual value which we are typing straight away. So we are updating state first, and after that we assign that state to the value. So this way we are storing all the information what we type inside the state, which can be further used somewhere else, right? So now on handle click, we have to pass this to the parent. So let's say here we have a list of tasks, and by default it will be empty array. So how do you pass list of tasks? And will be list of tasks, list of completed. How do we pass here, guys? Any idea? It's a tricky. It's a, you probably know if you studied React before, but like if assuming that you have only one float, you can pass prop from here to here. How would you do this? Come on, any ideas?
Maybe append child.
Append child. What exactly do you mean with append child? Can you a little bit elaborate?
Yeah, when we want to pass some information from components to components, we have to use the append child, right? So,
append child, you are thinking in the way how it is in a vanilla JavaScript, right? Pure JavaScript. But in React, you cannot do like this.
Can we create another function with set state inside our app?
So this is that's correct, Cassette. So we need to here we say update list of tasks, right? And here it will be our function method, which we here where we update. So this state, this set state, and within the set state we actually, like, there is a one tricky thing. Like if we have like few things here, it's not very straightforward. At least it was not for me, that you have to do this state and then do list of tasks, list of tasks, and here you do this state list of tasks, We will come to this. Okay, just give me a second. Here we say new task. And we say so here what happens, we created function, we destructured this state because we need to create new object. We want to update on the list of tasks, right? I think potentially you can even do like this, but I'm not sure if you overwrite this list of completed. For sake of I will have to check if you can do list of tasks, if you should do this or not. I don't remember because I haven't done it for a while. Let's keep it like this for now. So I want to update list of tasks. I get new task, and I need to add it to the array. And if I do push here, what will happen, guys? What will happen if I do push here new task? I will tell you straight away. I think it is it is wrong the way how it is now. What will happen? What I'm doing at the moment?
Pushing tasks to the new task.
Yeah, but I'm mutating the state, right? Which is not, it's not the correct way. The correct way will be to destructure your array and then append it this child. So this way you will add extra variable, extra parameter to your list of tasks. So now we can pass this one. We can say like this, and then we pass this update here. And here we are passing this method as a prop, update list of tasks, right? So if we come to here, we can actually get this. Okay. So we need to these dot props. Dot props, and I update task because we are passing it right by prop. This needs to be. And here I'm passing the state and task. And for now, let's render. So we do this state, a list of tasks, map. We have a task, and we do return div task. Let's have a look. Well, let's see how it will work. Test 1, test 2, test 3, 4, and so on. So we can obviously add the key, so it does not complain about keys index. And add here key index. So guys, this is one of the, I think, the last parts I wanted to explain to you, how to update, how to handle updates here. So I also will do test one. You see my task, so updated task list states, task one, so test 2, test 10. You see, it's appends to this object. So guys, what happens is, maybe someone wants to try to explain what happens. Even if you are wrong, it's still worth trying, because I can correct you, and then you will understand what's the like, you know, kind of, you will know where you were wrong, and then you can correct yourself, you know, adjust, or maybe you will be right, you know. So who wants to try to explain what happens here? Alina, do you want to try?
I will pass, Nurzhan. I'm trying to understand what you're doing now.
Okay. So who, Bignar, do you want to try to, maybe you can explain it?
Yeah, I don't know, let me try.
Yeah, come on.
Hmm.
Try to start from here, from this component, okay?
From what? From render?
Yeah, like what happens here, and then we come to this part. Yeah.
Okay. So we create list of tasks, which is empty array. Then we what we do, updated list of tasks. So we create a key and pass the key, updated list of tasks, which is equal to the function that we created. And what we need, and the function accepts the new tasks property, and then adds these new tasks to list of tasks.
Yep.
Then okay, then it loops through the list of tasks. In the first case, we have only one new task in our array, and then it maps its index and the element. Okay, so yeah, it returns the element with its name, with index and its name.
So here, I like, you know, like the biggest problem with the React, right? The biggest, it's not a problem. The way how it is designed is always one directional data flow, right? So what is the parent? Parent is the app component, right? Parent is a component which renders the content, and children are new task generator, right? So new task generator is a child of the app. Is it clear on this, guys?
Yes.
So yep. So it means that app can send properties to new task generator, as we do now. But it also means that new task generator cannot send directly information to the app, correct? It's only one direction, from up to new task generator. It cannot be from new task generator to the up. So if so, it means that I have to create a function within the app which will allow to update this list of tasks, right? Because we are generating tasks within the new task generator here, right? We are creating this, like we are storing the every time we type something in the field, in this input field. Where do we store it? We store it here, right? In the task generator. Do you agree in this? We have an input container, button, everything is here. We have our task here, right? Correct? Agree?
Yes.
Do you agree or not? Yes. If so, we are doing this, like we are storing information about the task. We are storing here, but what we need to do, we cannot like we have to think about the way how to pass this task into this array, because here we want to store everything. We don't want to kind of like combine everything in all big application. We want to break it in the way it is like it will be easy to manage. So the task generator only responsible for clicking at task. It also responsible for storing the task as a text, right? Like in the state. So to pass this into here, we created a special method called update list of tasks, which accepts new task, right? So new task, it can be like anything, but in our case, it will be string. And then we call this set state. So this is just a kind of like a regular function which we usually do on click, right? Like on click. But this, at the moment, we actually, in this case, we are not like using it within the app. We are passing it to the child. We are saying like, look, new task generator, there is this method which allows you to update list of tasks within app. Can you please use it when you do add task on click? Can you do when the button is pressed? So we are passing this function, update list of tasks, into on click of the button within the child component. And then we pass the set state task, right? You see, we are passing the essentially we are passing the value which will be typed inside the field. And once you press the button, you activate this function, your new task will be appended to this array, and here you will render it. You will render your list of tasks. So we are typing here. You can see this is a property. I really want to increase this, but I'm not sure. Like if you can you see this clearly or not really? These values. Can you see this, guys?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So
better
you see, in our, this is my app component. This is my app component. You see, this is my app component. It has two states, two properties: list of completed, list of task. So currently it is empty, right? It is empty. I'm typing. I can type here whatever I want, but it's still empty. So when I press the add task, this is new task. When I press new add task, you can see the list of tasks has been updated. I'm typing here Nurzhan. There is no Nurzhan here, right, in this array, correct? But if we come to here, this component, the child component, it has a state, its own state, where there is a field task, and it has a Nurzhan right here. So again, I press add task, and then the value from here, it gets appended to the list of tasks. So we, to pass the information from the child to the parent, you have to use a function which you create in the parent, and you have to pass it to the child. So the child then updates the state of the parent.
Nurzhan, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So whenever you create a new task, so it keeps adding on the top, right?
Yes.
But is that because of the 3 dots, or how does it come? It's like
so what is the destructuring, guys? I think you should you should know destructuring by this time. So let's say you have array 1, right? So array 1, and you have 1, or better to do like cat, dog. And I create another array const array 2. And let's say I want to this array, I want to array 2 be contain cat and dog and also horse. How would you do this? Without actually updating array 1, how would you do? Come on, guys, those who did like all the JavaScript REPL questions, how would you?
Array 2 is equal to square brackets, 3 dots.
Without destructuring.
Without destruction.
Yeah.
Array. You want to add the horse, right?
Yes, horse. Yes, to this.
Can
but
we
you should not
concatenate it?
But without concatenate, but without mutating this one, right? So like, yeah,
Slice?
you tell me how. Yes, how yeah, just tell me how will you do. Just guide me. Array 1.
Array 1 dot concat.
No, there was another method which pushes the like value item inside the array. It was pop. No, not pop.
Push. But push will change array 1, right? I don't want to change array 1.
Can you do 3 dots, array 1, and then another item?
No, I'm saying without destructuring. How would you do?
Concat returns the new array.
Yes. So array 2. This is how would you do, right? Correct? As Beckner said, as you said, you will have to do concat, right? And this is array 1 didn't change. But there is like a destructuring method, which is do array 3, and you do destructure array 1. Array 1. You need 3 dots. Yeah, 3 dots actually it's not correct way. Just say destructure array, and then here you do horse, right? And then you do array. If you look at the array 3, it is this. But at the same time, we don't change array 1, correct? And at the background, something like concat happens here, but this is just the easier way of writing it, right? So in our case, what happens is we are creating new array. We don't want to mutate. I'm not going to. That's why I'm saying that if I do this state list of tasks and then I do push, I will mutate, right? I can do concat here, concat new task, right? I can do it because concat will create new array. But it's way easier, more readable is to do like this. And what will happen? I will update list of tasks, and then I will generate here null, right? I will do I will do map through all this stuff. And maybe since we are not breaking into the teams and there is no point already, what we will do, I will show you. Actually, it's not good idea to have everything app. App is your kind of like a brain, right? It's the top high level component. It stores information, but it should delegate all this to other components. So we can create like a list of tasks, which we do here. List of tasks. List of tasks. JSX. We do React class component. List. Tasks.
I think there's a typo on the name of the folder file.
Yeah, we will remove this here, and so we will go away. We remove this. We will put here inside this part. We don't have this. We do these props, and we also list of tasks. List of tasks, and we do here this state list of tasks, right? So it's not happy about something, so we need to identify what's the problem. So we will do, I think it's must be again. So now test. There. Right? So, and now you have pretty much generator of the new tasks. You still have to create a bucket, delete the task option, or like a done task, completed task. But at least you have, I think, a good starter code, which covers a lot of like a new, I hope, new things. It should be a good starting point for building a project, guys. Yeah, so.
Nurzhan?
Yes.
Can you explain, I still didn't get why the difference between JSX and JS when we can just do it?
So almost from the point of building the application, there is not much difference, right? Like because at the end it's JavaScript, still JavaScript. So I can remove X from the end. It will be like JavaScript. App will work perfectly fine. The only difference, like why it is used often JS6 and JS, it is because here you are holding your component, right? and it's easier to distinguish. I look at this file, I know that this is a React component. This one is not React component. So it's up to you. You can call everything JavaScript, or you can add X to the end, and it will be, you will distinguish between the actual files which contain React components and those which don't. This is helper function. Imagine like it's not a helper function. Like, let's say I do calculate annual revenue. And there is like some calculations right here, blah 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 calculations, and it can be like hundreds of lines of code. You don't want to have it within your component. You should not mix two things, you know, like you should such big logical things, you have to shift it to pure JS files. So then in future, when you will have to test this function, you don't need to call it from the component file. It has own place where it is live, and you will be able to test it separately. So that's why you have JS. For pure JS, there is no component. We don't do class component. We don't import React. Do you see? There is no React here. That's why it's a pure JS. So we use .js. Here, it is React component. It's a React. We are creating React here. That's why we put JS6. So it is more clear why that this file, it is related to the related to the React component. Not it doesn't contain pure JavaScript. So is it clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, cool. Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you very much. It was a lot of explanation, talking. I hope you learned a lot today. I think the best way to solidify it's to maybe to watch this class again, revisit it, maybe repeat it, follow the explanations. Yeah, just you instead of like watching Squid Games, maybe watch this one.
Already watched.
Huh? Say it
Only
again?
10 episodes already done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I finished it too.
Yes. So
It's too late now.
yes. Well, instead of watching something else, yeah, watch the class, play with it, and yeah, while building the code, at the beginning it will be hard, like as always, but over time you will understand. Try to play with the code. Like I would suggest, take this code, I will send it to you. Don't remember, don't forget, remember always to do npm install or yarn. Do yarn if you use yarn, or do npm install, and then yeah, just run the code. I will package this file so you can play on your own. Yeah, and list of teams you can see. Please, guys, I know that Yerlan, and also
yeah,
yeah, and the guys who joined us recently, you may not find yourself in the list of teams. Please Slack me directly so I can add you to the one of the teams there. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for coming to the class. Yeah, I hope you liked it. Yeah.
Thank you, Nurzhan.
See you on Friday now.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Nurzhan,
Yes.
can we meet for 5?